Hey, my divine darlings. It is I, the biblical mystic, and I think I want to do a story time. I want to introduce myself to the ones that don't know me and reintroduce myself to the ones that haven't just seen me in a while. So we're going to do a story time, and we are going to break down what is biblical mystic, how did I get here, what does that mean. So this is episode 1, so tune in. I don't know how many episodes we will have, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet, okay? So, I'm born and raised in the church, like many of us. Born and raised in the church, and I was a preacher's kid. So, we're going to put a little bit extra on there. So, you just not raised in the church, daddy was a preacher. So, I was still one of those kids that always had questions, right? Everything didn't add up for me. And then I was raised in an environment that was, you're steered to stay on a specific path. So exploration is outside of that path is frowned upon. But as a young adult, I remember asking the question to myself: if I was raised in this godly environment, if what I had, because that was one thing I constantly kept hearing: you got the truth, you got the truth, you got the truth, this is it, this is the truth. If I had the truth, it wasn't really a benefit to me. I didn't have no confidence. I didn't know who I was. I just had a low self view of myself. And I think this is some of the dangerous things that these religious systems give children. Like, one of the scriptures I remember hearing all the time as a child: at your best, you still a filthy rag. At your best. You know, some people can compartmentalize that and put it where it need to be, but some children can't. And all of these children grow up into adults. So again, I just had this poor self view of myself, of who I was. And I was in an environment. I got married at 24. I got married at 24, but prior to me getting married, I remember that from 18 to 20, before I met the man I married at that time, I didn't go on no dates. Ain't nobody asked me out in no relationships. And 18 to 24 is a prime time for development for a young person. So for me to be missing out on that aspect of my development, I think that played a huge part too. So when this particular man came around, I was just like, I got to tie down my penis, because I don't know when it's going to come around again. And I'm human, right? So I ended up getting married, and that just, no. And I got divorced. And when I got divorced, I ran. I remember thinking there is no reason for me to stay here in Ohio. I am leaving. And I remember sitting down and I looked at a map. And I was like, I had certain criteria. I said I wanted to be close to a body of water. I did not want to deal with winters anymore. And everybody was kind of moving to Atlanta then, and I had family in Atlanta, so I was always in Atlanta. Atlanta didn't grab me like that. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want Atlanta. I didn't want the Carolinas. And I remember looking at Texas, and I did a little research, and I remember thinking, okay, Texas, that sounds good. Like it felt good. It sounded good. And I also remember by the time everything came to and it was time for me to go, there was something that I knew for sure. I knew there is an aspect of me that I need to become, but I won't become her here. I knew that. So I packed up and I moved to Texas. And nobody knew me. Nobody knew my daddy. I was free. And if you know me, I am a free spirit to the 10th degree. I mean, to the 10th degree. Okay. So I was able to be free. And I quickly learned that freedom need boundaries. Because, baby, I turned that freedom into too much freedom. And there was a moment where I came to. Because, listen, when I was in Texas, I did everything I was big and bad enough to do. I had a good job. I had money in the bank. I was living my best life in Texas. And anything I felt like I was big and bad enough to do, I did it. I did it. And there came a time in Texas where I looked up and I said, how did I get here? What am I doing here? How did I get here? And I said, I don't went too far. I don't went too far. And once I came to that conclusion, Jesus, where you at? I start going back to what I knew. Jesus, where you at? But it couldn't just be regular Jesus that I came from, because I've been expanded now. My mind has been expanded. I done read the Willie Lynch letter, and I realized that Willie Lynch was doing what he was doing on Christmas Day in whatever year that was, the 1600s, 1700s. And I stopped celebrating Christmas at that point. I had been reading all this other knowledge, and it could not have been church as what I've known before. But I knew I need Jesus because I don't went too far. So I remember going to churches, and they didn't have any meat. They didn't have any girth. Like, they were still talking about tithes and being blessed, and God can pay your bills. And again, I'm coming back. I wasn't having money problems. I'm living my best life in Houston. I'm living my best life. I'm making the most money I've ever made at that time. Life is grand, okay? So that wasn't my issue. What was my issue was, now I've lost my moral compass. Like, who am I now? Like, all I've known before was Church Kim, Sister Kim, and she is no more, honey. So who am I now? And I needed something to bring that structure back, because that's what I know. That's what the religious system before had gave me, was that structure. And I needed that back. So I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it in regular churches. And there was a day I came across this pastor. And it was this old country militant black man. And baby, he was talking about Christianity is a lie. And, mind you, the state that I'm already in. Christianity is a lie. Y'all need to get out of Babylon. And, this and that. And he's teaching people how to make medicine with plants. How they living on the land, and people out there killing chickens and eating fresh food, growing gardens, and that just infatuated me. So I remember, I'm about to run out of time, so I'm gonna cut it off here. This is the end of part 1. My name is the Biblical Mystic, and I help you move from religious dependency into divine maturity by activating your God mind. I love y'all. See y'all for part 2. Episode 2, biblical mystic, the making of biblical mystic. So let's pick up where we left off at. I meet this pastor, and he is speaking my language. This is what I've been looking for. He has that girth. He has that meat. Like, I'm looking for this. He was an excellent teacher. Like, there were days he would be teaching 4 and 5 hours. Baby, I'm sitting right there. I'm taking notes. He is giving me a whole new perspective of the Bible, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. The church is in Tennessee, but what I come to find out is he had little micro churches literally all over the world. The man need to be studied, but he had them all over the world. So, he believed in keeping the commandments. So we would go to church on Saturday. We would keep the Sabbath, and we literally would sit there all day, and we would be studying the Bible. We would be reading. We would be praying. Like, we were in there doing that work. So that just fed my spirit at that time. So at some point, things began to take a change. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm walking around like literally covered from my head to my toes. I had head coverings, dresses. That's all we were allowed to wear. I'm a nurse by trade. I went and brought skirt scrub sets. I was walking around Texas looking crazy. And I'll never forget, one day my boss at the time, she looked at me like I had on some crazy outfit. My head was covered. I had on some scrub skirts, long skirts coming to work. And she looked at me. She said, "What is wrong? What is wrong with you?" But at that time, I didn't care. Like, I did not care what I had came out of. I didn't even want, don't look at me. I didn't want to be attractive. I didn't want to be seen. If I can be hidden, I think that's what that kind of gave me, that feeling of like, don't see me. So we're going through that. I'm learning from this man, and he has this like shit hit the fan type training every year. So he's preparing the church for that. He's preparing the church, teaching them get out of the cities, do this, buy gold, buy silver. Like that was back in 2011, I think by 2012 I had left. So he's teaching all of this stuff. That's where I learned to shoot guns. All of this was part of this ministry. And I was like, why are the other people not teaching this? Like, this is a necessity. Like, we literally learning how to make medicine. The women learning how to give birth safely. All of that. Okay. All of that. So with that being said, one of the years he has his shit hit the fan gathering, he opens it up to the public. So this one year I go, I invite my sister, because she was living in Kentucky at the time, and I'm in Texas, so I haven't seen her. So I was like, hey, come here, I'm gonna swing by, pick you up, and we go spend a long weekend there. Baby, the way the men were attacking my sister, trying to force her to become an Israelite, and she had a husband, and I'm watching this go, I'm already starting to question stuff. But watching them, the way they kind of was attacking her, that kind of like really took me out of my slumber. And this was maybe on a Thursday night. By Friday, she was calling her husband like, come get me. So that had kind of woke me up out of my slumber, because I was like, now, wait a minute. I already didn't like how they was talking to her and kind of like trying to force this belief system on her. And then the fact that she was like, I'm not staying here. that kind of like, okay, let me pay attention. But the thing that saved me is because I was not looking for man. My search was always for God. So because I am constantly trying to be in alignment and make sure I'm looking for God, that's what saved me, and I was able to walk away. Because I walked away, like the pastor start moving, he start moving from his original teachings to polygamy and proving that men can have more than one woman. And he kind of was, not kind of, he was teaching this doctrine that, women pretty much wasn't shit. Like a lot of stuff just kind of shifted. So that gave me the free will and a desire to just walk away and leave from there. But when I walked away, I told God, I said, God, I realized that was the first level where I realized I've been outsourcing my power. So I said, okay, God, I'm not sitting under nobody else. I'm not doing religion ever again. I said, it's me and you from here on out. So that was the beginning of Biblical Mystic. Because I said, it's me and you. I will never have a middleman between me and God ever again. And I'd walk away from all organized religious systems, and I start my journey with me and God. And when I started this journey, I found myself with in metaphysics and esoteric and occult knowledge. But all of that stuff began to make so much sense to me. Like I was able to put the Bible together when I started studying that. It like all just made sense. And I know that's the forbidden fruit in the Christian's eyes, but it made sense. I understood all them questions I had about the Bible when I started studying the occult. I was like, oh. I was able to put it all together. So, I walked out of that cult, entered into and started studying the occult. And at the same time, I entered into the darkest season of my life. And this was probably a 5-year period. Oh, okay. This was probably a 5-year period where I entered the darkest season of my life. And we're going to go ahead and talk about that in the next episode. So this is the end of episode 2, and I am the Biblical Mystic. I move people from religious dependency into divine maturity by awakening your God mind. So I love y'all, and I will see y'all in episode 3. How I went from the church to the occult. Episode 3, I'm Biblical Mystic, and we're going to jump right in and pick off where we left off at. So now I'm entering into my own darkness. I'm entering into my darkness. And when I say my own darkness, I mean hell. Literal hell. Literal hell. I hated my life in every single aspect. I hated my job. I hated the relationship I was in. I just was miserable during this season of my life. And I mean, to the point where I had got up over 300 pounds. I was big. I was miserable. I hated waking up. But the occult is teaching me something during this season. It's teaching me that I'm responsible for this hell that I'm in. And if I want to get out of this hell, then stand up and walk out of this hell. It took me the 5 years to really get that message, because coming from religion, we can't do anything without God's permission. We got to wait on a sign. We got to wait on God to do stuff. But the occult is saying, no, I've given you wisdom. I've given you dominion. I have given you authority. Make a decision. I'm backing you in this decision. So the occult has a lot of has a sovereign mindset versus a sheep mindset that the church teaches us, and we have to be led. So a lot of that is where I spent a lot of my time having and learning how to break that mindset in me, because again, I'm in a relationship I don't like, and I'm praying and asking God, if this is not the man for me, give me a sign or remove him out of my life. You don't like this man. The version of you that's showing up in this relationship is not the best version of you. So all the signs were there, but I was scared for whatever reason, and whatever, I don't want to have to start over in a new relationship, all this stuff that's going on in my head, right? But once I got a hold of that and I was able to acknowledge, I'm outsourcing my power, I'm outsourcing my authority, I'm outsourcing my dominion that belongs to me, I was able to actually walk away from that relationship and not look back once I really got that memo. So again, even though this was a very dark season, it was a very cathartic, healing season for me. There were moments where I really stood in the mirror and I had to heal and deal with my inner child and let her know I'm here now. I'm in my right mind. Nobody else is going to take advantage of you. I'm here. I got you. You can be free. You can do what you need. And so this season was about me learning how to give to her, how to give my inner child what she needed, give my teenage version of Kim what she needed. I dealt with my parental issues that I had. I'm in my early 40s during this season, and the truth be told, I thought I was over that stuff. But all of that stuff came up during this period. And it came up, though, for me to actually deal with it and pull up the root. So I know the occult gets a bad rep, but honestly, we don't understand it. And it's hidden. Occult only means hidden. That is true healing that I got in the occult, because I understood how to go within. I learned how to face me, quit outsourcing my wholeness, quit outsourcing my power, quit outsourcing my ability to make a decision and choose. All of this stuff is what the occult taught me, that I'm responsible for me. And once I was really able to deal and face the pseudo version of God that organized religion gave us, and I was able to stand boldly with the highest version of me, the God version of me, and literally walk in my power, my life changed. And you know, I talk about how I understood the Bible more when I studied the occult. Listen, the occult is all through that Bible. It's all through that Bible, but we have only read it from one perspective. So a lot of stuff go over our head. We don't see it. We don't understand it. Let's just deal with the fact that communion, the occult is, hold on. Communion is one of the oldest, most ancient occult practices out there. Take, eat, this is my body, this is my blood. You take on Christ's body as an act to become Christ, to take on Christ. This is occult knowledge. So when I say the occult helped me understand the Bible, that's what I mean. Now, in terms of magic and all of that stuff, I'm kind of in a different place from there. I don't believe that it's magic. I think it is us understanding spiritual laws, right? I think it is us understanding how to function in another realm. So just like if I'm in a science lab, there are rules and laws that I have to follow in a science lab, or I can make some mistakes. I can cause some very serious damage. So I just can't get in there doing anything. It's rules I have to follow, but you have to understand that. And when you look at this, I think a lot of times we see the witches and warlocks, right? They're bold enough to go into the spirit realm, but then organized religion gives us just enough to go to the surface, and then we ain't allowed to mess with that. Baby, let me tell you something. That's your birthright. So you have to learn it. You have to understand it. That's your power. And quite honestly, I think we have to learn it because it's some time, some days that are ahead of us that you're going to need to know how to tap into something greater. You're going to have to learn how to tap into something greater. So with that being said, you can't be running around here scared to tap into what belongs to you. When you read these stories, when you read about Joshua maintaining daylight so he can go and get the victory in a war, how I went from the church to the occult. I'm Biblical Mystic, and this is episode 4. So we got cut off on our last one, but we are talking about this darkness that I'm in, this hell that I'm in. And it really, now that I am out of it, I see that it was really my resurrection. It was really me shedding that old way of thinking, that sheep mentality, and it is teaching me how to go within, how to activate my power, my authority, what belongs to me, right? How to take authority in this realm. This is all this stuff I'm learning in this 5-year hell that I found myself in. So yeah, it was hell, but I got my wings. I got my wings during that season, and I was able to literally walk out, stand up and walk out of hell. So that was a dark season, but the version of me that came out of it, mwah, chef's kiss, baby. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, and I had a lot of experiences during that season, right? I remember one day I was walking out of one of my clients' home, and she has a huge oak tree in her front yard, and I'm literally walking out and the tree turns into a snake. Scared the bejesus out of me. Scared the bejesus out of me. There was another day I was sitting in my kitchen and I just heard the word Sekhmet. 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 I'm like in my kitchen cooking, like I stopped and I was like, what is Sekhmet? And I go look it up and I see that Sekhmet is this powerful, like badass goddess that her energy was used to come and clean stuff up. And I use Sekhmet in not really knowing how to tap into that energy. What I do know now and understand now that Sekhmet is an energy that pounces. She's a cat, right? That's and it pounces on you. But when she shows up, she comes and cleans some stuff up. She come and regulates some stuff. So I was also during the season learning how to work with these different energies. And what I understood too is that they've given us Jesus, right? But imagine there is a plethora of energies that you have access to. But everybody is eating off of this one plate, but you have millions of other uneaten plates that you can feed from. Millions of them. And it's also important that you don't go from one God to another to worship. I wasn't worshiping Sekhmet. What I understood was Sekhmet was an aspect of me that I was able to tap into. All of this stuff is an aspect of me and an aspect of you that you're able to tap into. So I didn't worship anything outside of me. I'm the source, right? This is something else that the occult taught me. I'm the source. I'm the one in my world. I'm the one. And that's where I had to learn how to turn my power internally versus outwardly. And yeah, that was a good season. So I worked with different gods during that season. I worked with I work with different aspects of me during that season. So when I say I work with Sekhmet, I understood how to work with an energy inside of me that's going to come in here and clean this stuff up, come and regulate and put stuff back in order. So I also learned that when I was reading about Sekhmet, I'm not reading about something outside of me. I'm reading about me. And I took that same concept and applied it to the Bible. So when I'm reading the Bible, I'm not reading about anything outside of me. And I don't care who I'm talking about. If I'm talking about God, Moses, Paul, Joshua, Elijah, I'm reading about aspects of me. All of these stories are me. I don't look at the Bible as a history book. And the way my mind has expanded, I couldn't even look at the Bible as a history book if I wanted to. I couldn't. When I read Genesis, in the beginning, Kim created heaven and earth. In the beginning, I created. And I'm not talking about the end all be all. I didn't create all of this, but I created biblical mystic. So in the beginning, biblical mystic is this heaven for me. Biblical mystic, maybe I created a business. In the beginning, Kim created this thing. And I said, let there be light. Let there be information. Let there be formation. Let me multiply. Let there be multiplication in what I created. So this is how I read the Bible, right? I don't look at it as no history book. A lot of times right now in the world, we got a lot of stuff going on and people are running around here talking about, we got to save Israel. That's God's chosen people. Israel is literally the ones that wrestle with God, the ones that fight with God. That's how who I can't think of his original name right now, but the one that got the name Israel, he was wrestling with God when God changed his name. He was fighting with God. He said, "No, I'm not letting you go until you give me what I came here for. I don't care who you are. Give me what's mine." So Israel is anybody that wrestles, that fights and tussles with God for what belongs to them, for their truth, for whatever it is that belongs to them. That's Israel. It's not some country that somebody placed over there in the 1940s. So that lie is propaganda from the jump. But I digress, because we're talking about how I went from the church to the occult. So where am I at now in this story? I learned how to read the Bible from a different way. And I began to understand that all of this stuff is me in my world. It's all me. It's all me. And I have the power to change all of this stuff. I have the power to begin walking in authority and build myself up in a way that God spoke on, that I don't have to be the bottom of nobody's shoe. I don't have to be at the bottom of life. I don't have to be. So at the end of the day, you have to find your magic. You have to find what works for you. You have to find how to build your life up. How do you and God communicate? How do you and God communicate? Every one of us has a moment in our life where something happened, where you were able to shift something. What did you do? Go back and track that back and then do that stuff again. It's about really seeing the pattern, creating a structure around it, copying and copy, rinse, repeat. That's how you're going to create worlds. That's how you're going to create what it is that you desire in this world. Because the goal is for you to move from a sheep to being sovereign. That we are to mature, we are to grow up in God, we are to walk away from that religious dependency and grow up in God. Walk in our power. Quit being pushovers. Quit letting these folks do whatever they want to do to us. Man, government, whoever. Find your power. Find your authority. Walk in that. Take authority over this realm. That's your birthright. I am the Biblical Mystic. I will be back for the next episode. I think I probably only have one more episode of this left. But I help people move from religious dependency into divine maturity by activating their God mind. That's what this is about. How I went from the church to the occult. I am Biblical Mystic, and this is episode 5. So come on in here, take a seat, and let's go ahead and bring this home, okay? So I'm now coming out of my darkness, and this darkness was like a 5-year period, right? I had to face my demons. I had to face them head on, and I could no longer avoid them, right? That's what I had done the previous 40 years, and now that has come to a halt. And in order for me to transition into this next phase of my life, I had to deal with these demons. And again, it did not feel good. It did not look good. I would even say if anyone knew me in that period of my life, those 5 years, I didn't look well to you, because I was literally fighting myself out of hell. I was freeing, let's use the proper lingo. I was freeing myself from hell, and that don't look pretty. I was going through my metamorphosis. That don't look pretty, right? So this new version of me has now arisen. I literally have to make sure I'm not returning to my old patterns, what I knew, because, listen, some things you just fall into, right? You don't even have to give it a second thought. It's pattern recognition there. So I'm coming from a sheep mentality. That's what organized religion taught me to be, right? And listen, everybody gets something different. I got out of organized religion to be a sheep, to be led to look outside of myself for everything that I need. And now the occult has taught me that it's me, right? I'm the responsible one for my life. I'm God. I am the devil. I am all of these beings. I carry the authority to control this avatar, right? It's me. And that was a little different to really hold on to. So I have this knowledge, and now it's time for me to really start applying it. And the atmosphere is a little different, right? When I was in the darkness and I'm walking out, I was able to do certain things, and now stuff has calmed down a little bit. And the necessity is not there as it was when I was in the darkness, right? I'm not on fire. My ass is no longer on fire. So, this is where I'm saying you got to make sure you don't go back into these old ways. So I have this knowledge. It's now time to apply it to my life. And literally, this is where I literally had to grow up in God, right? I had to become a grown adult in God. So when you a baby, you chew your food up. As a parent and you're dealing with a baby, you chew the food up. You might chew it up, put it in the baby's mouth because they can't digest it. They can't break down this food like this. So I have to give it to them in a way. And this is a scripture that always stood out to me. And I can't think where it is right now, but Paul, I think he's talking to the Corinthians, but I can be wrong. But Paul is talking to the church, and he's telling them, Paul is telling them it's time for them to grow up. Like, there's babies. The milk is for the babies, and the meat is really for the grown people in God. And when I go back and read that now, like, it's like I feel Paul's spirit. Like, Paul is saying, listen, I shouldn't be the only one out here passing out handkerchiefs. I should not be the only one to know how to do the miraculous things that I do. But because y'all still fucking babies, because you still are scared of the spirit realm, you know what I know. I've given you what I got. Grow up in God. So that's the message. Like, when I get that, that just jumps off the page to me. It just jumps off the page to me, because we can't be scared of our power. And I think that's something that the church has taught us. It has taught us to be scared of who we are. And I've said this before, and I'll say this again. And listen, each his own. I'm not here to judge anybody. But the witches and the warlocks should not be the only ones that know how to work the spirit realm. That's your birthright too. That's your birthright. If you got your own relationship with God, that's your birthright to know how to work that spirit realm, to know how to get in there and get stuff done, to know how to make stuff happen, and you can't be scared of it. You can't. It's some scary stuff because you haven't done it before, right? You may not have the vocabulary to explain it, to express it, but that don't mean you don't do it. That don't mean you don't do it. When a baby is transitioning from crawling to walking, right? Now the baby is messing with stuff and getting into stuff. And as a parent, you might get scared, but you don't stop that baby. That baby got to figure out life. And that's the same mentality that we have to take into this as we grow up in God, right? You are now becoming your own scientist. Your spirit, you have to learn to trust yourself, right? You have to learn to trust yourself. And when your spirit say, don't do that, listen to it. There was, when I first started coming into this knowledge, I'll never forget this. I will never forget this. There was, I'm not going to go into details, but I was about to do something. And I went to the store. I got everything I was supposed to get to go do this work, baby. And my spirit said, clear as day. I probably spent $100 at the store getting all of this stuff because, baby, I was about to do the do. And I set everything up. I got prepared. I set everything up. And my spirit said, don't do that. You bet not do that. And in that moment, I heard my spirit loud and clear. I ain't asked no questions. I didn't even return the stuff to the store. I gathered it all up and I threw it in the trash. And years went by where I was able to see, oh God, thank you. Because if I would have did that, I would have messed some stuff up. So you have to learn how to listen to yourself. You have to learn how to trust yourself. You have to have that clear communication between you and your highest self. Your highest self has a bird's eye view of your life. It can see what you can't see, right? So, and I think it's important too that we talk about as we are growing up in God. In the church, everything is demonic. Everything is witchcraft. That's because you don't see the similarities. You don't see the parallels between the Bible and the spirit world and what people call witchcraft and demonic, because you don't see that you're doing the same thing. You don't see that you're doing rituals. You don't see that you're casting spells. But just because you go to church, you're doing the same thing. When you're praying scriptures or praying psalms, you're using those as spells. The occult teaches us use that Bible. That is a powerful source. But it also teaches you that the Bible is not the only book. That's the one that they gave the masses. But you got all kind of books. You got all kind of books that you can tap into and use that has just as much power. So when I'm using the scriptures to pray, or when a church person is using the scriptures to pray, we both doing the same thing. We both doing the same thing. When Obama was in office, I'll never forget, it was this white man. He went through and started saying, I finally found what scripture I can pray for Obama. And that scripture was talking about let his kids be hungry. Let them be begging bread. And he was, baby, he's casting a spell. He's casting a spell. But your mind is in a box. Now, again, each is on. Y'all do what y'all want to do. You use it how you want to use it. And I'll never forget one of the things my teacher has taught me. One of my teachers has taught me, when you are in your position of power, yes, it's spirits out here, but them spirits shouldn't be bothering you, because you know how to protect yourself. You know how to guard yourself. You know how to ground yourself. So whatever is going on out here don't bother you. Listen, I'm about to run out of time. I'm the biblical mystic. I move people from religious dependency into divine maturity by awakening their God mind. I'm gonna come back because I still got stuff to talk about. I love y'all. Peace out. How I went from the church to the occult. And this is episode 6. I'm biblical mystic, and this is my story. So listen, I'm gonna try to bring this home, okay? So bear with me. I left off in the last video and we were discussing how the similarities and the parallels. And listen, we all out here doing the same thing. We just got different definitions. I may have an altar set up in my house. You have an altar in your church. You doing rituals one way, I do them another way. We all are attempting to manipulate energy or manipulate and change our reality. However you title it, we're all out here doing the same thing, right? I say, hey, I'm being possessed by my highest self, right? You saying, hey, I'm being possessed by a spirit named Jesus or the Holy Ghost. So we're all doing the same thing. So I think that's important that we understand that, so we can get out of that's demonic, this demonic, I ain't allowed to do this, I ain't allowed to do that. Baby, we all out here doing the same thing. We all out here trying to figure out how to survive in this world. And that's what's important, right? Because sooner than later, there's coming a reality where you're going to need to learn how to tap into your power. You're going to need to know your communication style with your God. Whoever you call your God, you need to learn how to communicate with it. You need to learn how to know your prayer got through, your spell got through, whatever it is has gotten through. You need to be able to do that. So at the end of the day, learn your power system. And in order, this is what the occult taught me too. I had to remove the middleman out of my relationship between me and God, because I wasn't listening to myself. The middleman told me I can't trust myself. The middleman told me there's no good thing in me. The middleman told me at my best I'm still filthy rags. The middleman told me I can't trust my heart. I can't do this, I can't do that. Baby, the kingdom of God is in me. So you telling me there's no good thing in me? The kingdom of God is in me. What's greater than that? What is greater than that? So I had to learn how to trust myself, how to believe myself, how to know, hey, I want the best for me, right? I'm going to do right by me. I'm doing right by me. So the person outside of me doesn't have my best interests at hand. I have my best interests at hand. And I had to learn how to tap into that. I had to learn how to trust that. I had to learn how to believe that, okay? So if you don't hear anything else I say today, baby, you're going to need your power. You are going to need your power. You need to learn how to develop it, how to call it forth, how to invoke this aspect of you. You have to learn how to do this, right? Because listen, I don't live in America. I live in Ghana. I have freed myself, baby. But I cut the news on in America and I'll be like, my God, it's too much going on over there. This is why I was a weed head when I lived over there, because I had to escape from that reality. I had to escape from that reality. So, listen, I'll be digressing all the time. Listen, you need to learn your power. That is of utmost importance, okay? You need to learn how to tap into your power. You need to know what your gifts are. You need to know how you communicate with the spirit realm. You need to learn how to get stuff done in your world. And if you need me to tell you this, you allow. God ain't sitting up in no sky writing down every little thing. Oh, Jackie did this today. That's a weak ass God. That's a weak ass God that gave me all of this, but I can't have access to it. We have to begin looking at the stuff that we believe about God. We have to begin honestly reevaluating that. We have to, because it limits us. It limits us. I was scared to move. It wasn't long ago when I was constantly having to tell myself, Kim, you're not in trouble. Kim, it's okay. Kim, God ain't gonna get you. Because that was how I was brainwashed. That's how I was programmed to believe. If I don't do this, I'm gonna be in trouble with God. God ain't no God. Honestly, if I be honest, I don't really believe what we consider and what we call God really gives a damn about us. He has that energy. It has given us all the tools that we need to survive in this realm. Either you're going to use them and move your life forward, or you're going to keep having to come back to this place until you figure it out. And I done already told God, this is my last go round. I ain't coming back. I ain't coming back. So we going to have to figure all this stuff out, because I'm not doing this shit again. I'm not doing this ish again. So I have to figure it out on this go round. All of it. Free yourself. Reevaluate what you're thinking. Look at your life. Listen, because I'm going to bring this home. I want you to stop and I want you to look at your life. Your life is a reflection. The outside world is a mirror back to you. So when you look at your life, and if you say, I hate my life, I'm miserable, I want you to look at your life and tell me what you see. Look at your life and tell me what you see. Is your house out of order? Is your house in chaos? What about your marriage? What about your relationship? What about your children? Are you going to a job that you love or you hate? What is all of that stuff saying back to you? Sit down, have that conversation with yourself. Your house out of order, your mind out of order. Begin practicing keeping your house in order. Your kids out of order, some things that you should have control over, you don't have control over. You need to begin taking back dominion in your own life. And listen, that surface stuff that I'm telling you right here, you need to sit down with your highest self. You need to sit down with the highest version of you and say, listen, what is the lesson that I'm not getting here? What am I thinking that has created me to be living this way, experiencing these things? These are conversations you need to have with yourself to begin shifting your life, okay? Let's just start there. You need to be able to trust yourself. Girl, brother, when I left the church, I didn't trust myself. I had no confidence in myself. I really had a very, very, very low self-view of myself. I had to put in the work to change all of that. All of that. Okay? So, listen. I'm the biblical mystic. And I help move people from religious programming into divine maturity. I help people move from religious dependency into divine maturity by awakening the God mind. I think the next video I'm going to talk about is these levels of consciousness. Yeah, I'm not even going to start this here. That's going to be the next video. We need to talk about these levels of divine consciousness. It's time for you to learn the power that resides in you. Because it's in there and it's waiting on you. I had to take control of my avatar. Listen, It's like you got a toddler driving your car. That toddler don't know how to drive this. He don't know how to drive this avatar. He don't know how to drive this car. He got you going in some ditches and some situations you don't desire to be in. You have to step up and take control of your life back. Nobody is coming to save you. Look in the mirror. That's your savior. Look at the mirror. You are your savior. You are who you're waiting on. Ain't nobody named Jesus gonna crack the sky. If something named Jesus cracks the sky, don't believe it. It's bullshit, because that's what's waking up inside of you. That's what woke up inside of me. That Christ mind, the Christos, the Christ consciousness is what woke up inside of me. That's what returned. So if something cracked the sky, don't believe it. These liars and witches and warlocks that run this world, these demons that run this world, have created a lie. That ain't what you've been waiting on, okay? So again, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out because my time is running out. I'm the biblical mystic. I help you move from religious dependency into divine maturity by awakening your God mind. I love y'all.